Today, we're taking a deep dive into the invisible universe that's happening inside every living thing, including you. We're talking about the cell, the fundamental, absolutely incredible building block of all life as we know it. So let's jump right in.
So let's start with a really big question. What is the smallest possible thing that can actually be called alive? I mean, is it a single hair, a drop of water, maybe an atom? For centuries, this question stumped some of the greatest minds on the planet. The answer, as it turns out, is the key to understanding, well, everything.
You know, our whole journey into this world starts with one single invention that completely changed the game: the microscope. For the very first time, it was like a curtain was pulled back on a hidden world, revealing this bustling, complex reality that's totally invisible to the naked eye.
And this is how it all unfolded. It was a slow burn, taking almost 200 years to figure out. It all kicked off way back in 1665, when a guy named Robert Hooke looked at a piece of cork and saw these tiny, box-like structures. They reminded him of monastery rooms, so he called them cells. But then, things got quiet for a while. The real breakthrough didn't happen until the 1830s, when, boom, Schleiden and Schwann figured out that all living things, plants and animals, were made of cells. And then came the final crucial piece of the puzzle in 1855, from Rudolf von Virchow. Cells don't just magically appear. Nope, they only come from other cells.
Now, these discoveries weren't just a random collection of cool facts. When you put them all together, they formed a powerful set of rules, like the laws of physics, but for biology. This became known as the cell theory.
And these rules are just so elegant. First, every living thing is made of cells. Simple enough? Second, the cell is the most basic unit that can do all the jobs of life. But it's this third rule that was a real revolution. All cells come from other cells. This just shattered the old idea that life could just, pop out of nowhere. The fourth rule drives it home: no cells, no life. Period. And finally, number 5, cells carry the master blueprint, their DNA, which they pass down from one generation to the next. These 5 ideas are, without a doubt, the foundation of all modern biology.
Okay, so we've got the rule book, but how do cells actually live? I mean, do they always have to team up to build something complex like us, or can they just go it alone? Well, as it turns out, the answer is both.
Cells have involved some really clever strategies for survival. Some are total lone wolves, living completely on their own. Others form these big cooperative communities. And some become super specialized citizens in the vast nation of a bigger organism. Let's take a look at what I mean. First up, we've got the independence. This little organism here is called Chlamydomonas, and it is a single cell. But don't let its size fool you. This one tiny cell does absolutely everything a living thing needs to do. It finds food, it moves around, it reproduces. It's a complete, self-sufficient life form all on its own.
Then you've got the colonists. This beautiful sphere is Volvox, and it's actually made of hundreds of individual cells, all hanging out together. They're all physically connected, but for the most part, each cell is still doing its own thing. You can think of it like a neighborhood, right? Everyone has their own house, but they're all living on the same street, sharing the space.
And check this out. Here's another strategy entirely. Just form a long chain. This is Spirogyra. The cells link up end to end, creating these amazing long green filaments. And again, while each cell can pretty much handle its own business, by linking up, they create a much larger structure together.
All right, so we've seen how they were discovered, the rules they live by, and how they organize themselves. Now, it's time for the grand tour. Let's shrink ourselves down, step inside, and explore the bustling, mind-bogglingly complex world of a single cell, a true microscopic city.
Okay, once we're inside, we find there are basically 2 main city plans, 2 major blueprints for these complex cells: the plant cell and the animal cell. As you can see, they share a lot of the same core machinery, but they also have some really key differences in their structure and equipment that we're going to explore right now.
Our first stop has to be the most important building in the entire city: the nucleus. This is the control center, the city hall, the main office. It holds the DNA, the master blueprints for absolutely everything the cell is and does, and from here it directs all the action.
Of course, every city needs power to run, and in the cell, that's where the mitochondria come in. Just think of these as the power plants. They take in fuel, they perform respiration, and they churn out all the energy the cell needs to work, to grow, and to live. No mitochondria, no power. No power, no city. Now, all these amazing structures aren't just floating around in empty space. They're all suspended in the cytoplasm. This is the city itself, the ground, the streets, the whole environment. It's this jelly-like stuff where all the action happens and it holds all the different parts in place.
Next up, we have the ribosomes. These are the tireless, tiny factories of the cell. They get their instructions sent over from the nucleus, and they use them to build proteins, which are the essential machines and building materials for pretty much every single job in the cell.
So once all this stuff is made, it needs to be sorted, packaged, and shipped out. And that is the job of the Golgi body. This is the cell's post office. It takes in proteins and other materials, boxes them up, slaps a label on them, and sends them off to where they need to go, whether that's inside or outside the cell.
And finally, what protects this entire city from the chaos of the outside world? That would be the cell membrane. This is the city border, the security gate. It's this flexible barrier that is super careful about what it lets in and what it lets out, making sure the environment inside stays just right.
So let's circle back to our two city blueprints and really highlight the key differences. Plant cells have a tough, rigid cell wall on the outside for extra support, which animal cells just don't have. Plants also have chloroplasts. These are the little solar panels that let them make their own food. You'll also notice plant cells usually have one huge central vacuole, kind of like a giant water tower for storage, while animal cells have smaller, temporary ones. And finally, animal cells have these things called centrioles, which are super important for helping the cell divide.
And that brings our tour to a close. We've seen that every single cell is this complex, bustling, incredible world of its own. So I'll leave you with this final, kind of mind-blowing thought. What does it really mean that you, your thoughts, your feelings, your entire being, are the result of trillions of these tiny worlds all working